Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castlekeeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today I'm going to be recapping my past week's worth of gaming from 8/14 to 8/18. So I ran a Castles and Crusades game session on Tuesday, and then played as a player on Thursday. So this week it just so happens that I was not able to run on Tuesday my AD&D First Edition campaign. One of my members was in the hospital for a procedure, so hopefully everything went well. I know I've chatted with him since, and so all seems to be well, and we will look forward to jumping right back into that campaign, quickly approaching session number 98 or 99, and pick up that AD&D First Edition campaign, which is kind of coming to a close. I mean, there could be as many as I would think possibly 6 sessions, so taking us into about mid-September, possibly more, and it could also wrap up in as few as 3. That's what I'm kind of projecting. So anywhere between 3 to 6 more sessions, possibly 8 at the most. And looking forward to it. Looking forward to continuing that campaign, and and hopefully finishing it off on a way that we all collectively as a group feel that sense that the campaign has run its full course, and then we can more actively move towards our Castles and Crusades campaign, which officially began probably about 3 weeks ago. We did a session, we did 2 session zeros, and then a role-playing session, kind of like a setup session for the characters to get to their guild house and where they were going to start to adventuring from. And then this past Tuesday, we actually ran our first adventure. So without further ado, let me shift screens. And there's one thing I wanted to bring up, so I'm going to pause this for a moment to bring that up as well. And so, sorry about that pause. I forgot to bring up something on the other page. So here we go. We're going to go right into it. And so here's my document file. I kind of showed this to you earlier on, but here is the banner that I created. So this is the Blacktop League campaign set in the Good Hills Union of Keeland in Greyhawk. So it's Castles and Crusades in Greyhawk. And I did this whole introduction. We've got a nice map here. This is an Ann Meyer map, and so I'm utilizing this as a resource. You can find tons of resources, free resources online. And this is all of my taking of the Greyhawk lore and world history from various sources, but primarily the World of Greyhawk box set from the early 80s. And I pulled up some charts and calendars and everything to really breathe some life into the world. So we're going to be utilizing the world timeline, the calendars of the world, and in some cases the language and nomenclature of the world. So star day, sun day, moon day, and so on and so forth. This is all character class setup and rolling up characters. This is their guild hall, and I did this video already. I wanted to bring you to, these are all of the NPCs that they have been introduced the 2 weeks prior to as part of their session 0 and their role-playing session. And then this was the beginning of the scene of this past Tuesday now. Although they didn't have this graphic, I have to transfer this graphic over. Unfortunately, I erased every image that was on my computer in two different file folders as I was trying to copy and paste and unify them into one, and somehow I erased everything, which is probably a good thing because I had gigabytes worth of saved images, and this is allowing me to pop back up from back up clean again. So if you've seen changes in some of the images on my website and on my YouTube channel, it's because all of the originals I blew out. I think I've improved them though in the time being. So this is what I described to my players as something that they saw, and just to give that added flavor to it. So this is the notice board that is in their guild house, and they did, I don't want to see too much here, they did this adventure here. So kobolds in the storehouse. All right, and I will shrink this down a little bit so you can see it. And this is technically a one-page adventure, right? So they had their map. Basically, it's it's an aid workers station and center that is giving aid to the to those that were not given access into the near city of Blacktop, and so they are handling like refugees and the sick and the injured from their travels that again could not gain access to Blacktop. And so the players saw on that posting board that these people here that run this, and they're actually gnomes that run this, and I'll get a little bit into detail there, that they were having problem with their storehouse. Things were turning up missing. Some chickens had disappeared from their hen house and such, and they were, the only thing that they asked the adventurers, to do was to take care and not destroying the place, but to try to get to the bottom of what was going on here. And basically, it was a kobold infestation that the players would have to deal with. So I am going to switch views here and bring you to the actual, let's see. All right, I got you there. Switching back and forth between the scenes is always a hit or miss kind of thing. So this is my Roll20. You can see that I have 12 players involved in the campaigns. I was going to do a Sunday group and a Tuesday evening group. Some of that might change with my work schedule, but let me jump right in here and I can show you what the players actually engaged with. I don't know why Roll20 suddenly has commercials. I guess if I signed up for it, I could get rid of the commercials. But let's see where we left off. And it should be the map, but I'm looking at it. Oh, so this is the... I use this here as a as kind of like a battle page, so I can bring in the creatures onto this screen here, and then have the players play it out as they go. But these these were the characters and the players that showed up for the session. So we had 5 of our members, and that's the one thing I like about this campaign, is that I can run it with whomever shows up, and whether they're the Sunday night or the Tuesday night, anyone is welcome to join in on this. And I can run it with probably as few as 3 players who show up, and as many as I could really take in all 12. I've run groups that size before. So let's see. So this was this is their Tuesday roster. Let me see where they actually did their fight. Here we go. So I am going to bring you here and bring this up here. So this was the page that they got into. This is where they combated the kobolds. So as they entered in here, they started, as they were rummaging through some of these casks and kegs and boxes and sacks and such. They started to discover these kobolds scurrying about throughout the different spots. You can see that the wizard here, Irag, put these two here asleep. These two were put asleep. This one was put asleep, and he was eventually killed. I didn't mark him off as being killed. One of the kobolds that they encountered managed to escape. Underneath this bed, there was another small, very small entryway into this place from underground, and there was one in this trough over here as well, a drainage trough that was over here, and so the players overall encountered some 11, well actually total of 12 kobolds. They killed 11, one escaped. They managed not to destroy the place, and they had a pretty decent go at it. There was only only 3 members of the party were injured during the fight. I think the one thing that they really grew to understand, the difference between AD&D First Edition and this, because most of these players are my AD&D First Edition players. The difference that they found is that the combat is a little bit more streamlined than it is in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, so you don't have to use 2 hit charts or anything like that. You have the armor class that you're trying to hit and your modifiers to hit it, basically. And so, it's ascending armor class system, and so they started to realize that as a first level character, it's not all that easy to hit things. So they were pretty much like, wow, these things have an AC of 15, and I need to roll a 15, and I'm only getting, potentially a +1 for my level on a D20. So I need to roll a 14 in order to hit them. Now, fortunately, they had some pretty decent armor classes, adventurers with their armor and their other equipment and stuff, plus a possible attribute bonuses. They're really quite hard to hit as well. So this combat lasted for quite some time, probably about 10 minutes or so, because they were hitting different pockets of kobolds. So it wasn't just a fight between 5 against 11, and you would think that, hey, you know what, this 5 adventurers should be able to just mop up kobolds pretty quickly. That's another difference between AD&D and Castles and Crusades. It's not so easy to hit as a first level character. It's also not so easy for these low level creatures to hit them in return, and even if they do, they don't do a whole lot of damage. So Rodan, who is the barbarian in the group, he was the only one that got hit twice, and he got hit twice for a total of 3 hit points of damage. So he didn't take a huge amount of damage here. The cleric took a 2 hit point hit. She, fared pretty well with that. With that hit. Although so she was brought down to 8 hit points. She still has a a 15, a 15 armor class, so it's fairly difficult to hit her. And then Oswald, all right, our bard, who is right here, he took one hit for just 1 hit point of damage. So not a whole lot of damage being done here. Um, of the party, 3 party members were injured, marginally, very slightly. But it was a good battle. It was an interesting battle. They utilized their spells pretty well, and they went back and forth, trying to chase them down as well. And so it was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was, again, I think it highlighted, because this was their first time, some people, their first time playing Castles and Crusades. And it really did highlight the difference between AD&D and Castles and Crusades. And I think for the benefit of it. As they go into more, this is really like an introductory adventure. Like I said, a single page adventure. As they grow in power and they start picking from the board more challenging adventures, then they're going to see even more of the system unfold for them to learn about, and that challenge will kind of go up quite a bit. So this is my campaign that I'm running with them. I am going to switch views here and come back. So that is my campaign. Now, the campaign that I'm playing in, I am going to come out of this and go back, and I just got to set this up really quickly. So I have to go to my games. Okay, I am almost ready. And so here, let's see what we're looking at. Yes, we're looking at it. So now on Thursday nights, I'm playing in Night Masters Castles and Crusades campaign. And we're going to jump right in here and take a look at this. Now, we were in a temple of, turned out to be a temple of Asmodeus. And during this fight here, I'll bring up my character. So my character is Kale Bloodverd, and he is a ranger. He is still first level, so it's kind of challenging for him because he is in a, the rest of the party is 3rd level, possibly even 4th. One might even be 4th level. So he's kind of having to kind of lay back and, and use his archery ability for the most part. Hopefully once he gets to 2nd level, which he's quite a ways away. Once he gets to 2nd level, hopefully he becomes a little bit more useful to the party, rather than having to, hang back. Between the last adventure or session that I played in and this one, he has upgraded his armor, so that really helped him out, and it brought him up to an AC of 17 now. He uses primarily his composite short bow. I have it listed here twice, composite short bow and then composite short bow marauder, because the marauder pluses to damage are added to that. So anytime he is attacking creatures that are humanoids, categorized as humanoids, he gets a +1 bonus damage to hit. +1 bonus damage to damage to them. The difference, which I realized between a short bow and a composite short bow, is reflected in the difference between, you don't add a strength bonus to it like you do in AD&D first edition. What you do is you up the dice level. So instead of a D6 arrows, the arrows now do damage of D8. So that is the difference between a regular bow and a composite bow. Really quite substantial difference. So I really like that. Unlike in unlike in AD&D First Edition, a short bow only fires once per round, so you don't get the, firing at the first portion of the round and then the end portion as a secondary attack. At least not yet. So there we have my character, and I will go to the journal. So this is basically what happened in session 3, wherein I labeled it the Temple of Asmodeus, and our combat was versus 20 skeletons that we had to face, and that started off. So our paladin and our cleric attempted to turn some of the skeletons. The cleric managed to turn 4 of them. The paladin failed, and since they counted as a single group, he wasn't able to attempt to do it again. So we went into combat with the skeletons. This combat lasted, because we're 3 players and 2 NPCs on our side, and this combat lasted, quite some time, probably between 6 and 8 rounds of combat. Actually, I would think it's about 8 rounds of combat, because I fired 8 arrows during the course of the combat. I was keeping track of the number of arrows that I fired. During my attacks, I scored 3 kills and 1 wound. One of my kills was the result of a critical hit, in which I just dealt a massive amount of damage. Then we fought with, we got into a fight with 3 evil, I should spell evil right there, with 3 evil clerics, and we were forced to retreat because 3 party members were affected by fear. I made my save, and Lornan made his, made his save. During the course of the fight, I only gained 32 XP. We didn't gain any treasure during this fight, so it didn't move me too much closer to my 2nd level. But I felt much more useful in this particular fight, and growing much more comfortable with the group that we're in, and we're just having a great time with it. So I'm happy to be in it. I'm hoping that I just switched views, so let's see what you are looking at. Yeah, you're looking at this too. So this is where we fought the skeletons here, and then we approached further in here, and that's where we encountered the clerics. And so we bugged on out, ran all the way, and fled out this exit here. Luckily, we were able to win initiative, and we already had some distance between the clerics and ourselves, so we were able to just flee and run out there, and we returned back to the village where we were hired to investigate this place, and try to heal up, because we did take some damage during the course of the fight. At least some of the other players did. My character, like I said, I pretty much hung behind the group here, and just kept on firing arrows into the oncoming skeletons. So a lot of fun. Now this is my Thursday night game, and I'm hoping that my work hours. I'll switch views. My work hours are going to change on September 5th, and my work days might become Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and so that might interfere with this. Now, we had done some talking, and perhaps we could move this to Wednesday night. I'm not really sure. I don't know what my work hours are going to be on Wednesday either. I could end up getting stuck in a Monday, Wednesday, Friday scenario, which I'm hoping not to. But in some ways it retains my Wednesday night game, but no, I'm sorry, it eliminates my Wednesday night game. Um, it keeps my Thursday night game, and it keeps my Tuesday night game that I'm running in place. I think overall I'm just going to have to reduce the number of games that I'm running or playing in to just the 2 per week, unless I can get something rolling on a Saturday or Sunday or some kind of a morning session. So that's what I'm looking for, because that would be best for me, is to get a game running during the morning hours. So nothing too early, like probably like 10 to, I'm looking for like 10 to 1 kind of situation, and because I'll be working from 2 to 6 3 days a week. So 10 to 1 or 9:30 to 12:30 would actually be ideal for me. So if you're running a game and you're working those kinds of hours or running those kinds of hours Eastern time, then certainly drop a comment in there, and because I will be looking for a game session to play in as a player in one of those early things. If you want me to actually run something during that kind of a time slot, also just let me know, and we'll see what we can do putting that up. So that was basically my week. 2 really good sessions of Castles and Crusades. Again, my Tuesday night group, and then my as a player on Thursday night. So really enjoying both campaigns so far, and looking forward and hoping that they will continue on for quite some time. And other than the work schedule change, they should be maintained, because there is going to be some flexibility of changing days and stuff like that. So that'll be great as well. So I hope you like this video. I look forward to seeing you on a gaming screen or at the table sometime soon. Maybe we'll be able to put something together, and I could be your castle keeper or dungeon master or game master for a morning session of something, or perhaps I can be your player in your game if you're, again, morning session or weekend session. Always looking for something on the weekend to play in. I'm going to try to limit myself to just running 1 or 2 game sessions a week, and playing in one. So hopefully I can get that all set up. All right. So as always, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your weekend, and just keep the games rolling on your table. Keep on rolling your dice and having your fun at the table. And as always, for this segment, I like to put out to you, describe to me your gameplay, or make a response video and talk about your past week's gaming. I'd love to follow and listen to those things. So they could be simple recaps, or if you have live plays that you want to show, I'd be glad to see those as well. But that was the purpose of this feature on my channel, is for us to be talking about our past week's gaming, and get away from just talking about products coming out, or talking about changes in the hobby or whatever. I just feel that not enough of us are out there talking about our actual game table and what's been going on there. So as always, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day, and take care.